just imagining Larry David DJing.
He's got like the one ear on his headphone.
Exactly.
And he's making like the Dave Agueda awkward dancing. Shout out to what is that clip? Shout out to George Floyd's family.
There's been a lot of problems in the world and also America too.
Yeah. That clip is so cringe. It's so bad. That should have been the first take. Well, I just want to welcome everybody to our Take-a-Palooza.
It's the Take-a-Palooza. I think in keeping with, COVID, that this is our takeout special. There's no indoor dining.
No.
No.
You have to eat in a very cold outdoor tent.
Mm-hmm. But I had Nigella Lawson record a little clip for us because I thought, hot takes. We're warming up the take machine here. You know.
So I've warmed in the microwave.
Exactly.
So I've warmed in the microwave.
Oh, thank you for that, Nigella. She gave us avocado toast.
Yeah. In the microwave.
In the microwave.
Then they did dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Yeah. Sounds serious,
Speaking of
Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Big, massive dumps. Let's start with the Matty Y vertical.
Mm-hmm. Now, we could have put a lot of things in here, but frankly, I don't want to spend too much time on Matty Y.
I started researching it, and I got past one, and I got so mad that I was like, I can't do any more of these. And then so Andrew put a couple more in, but
yeah,
I think these are some of the best Matty Y takes. Matt Iglesias, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a prolific tweeter, poster, writer. He's the inspiration for our 1 billion bowls project.
1 billion bowls. We're saying it more and more.
Everyone's talking about it. This first take is about what the best vegetable is.
Yeah,
the best vegetable.
He's quoting a tweet here that says, genetically engineered eggplant in Bangladesh offers a 51% increase in yield, a 37.5% decrease in pesticide use, increased farmer profits, and decreased farmer sickness. And he quote-tweeted that and said, huge win for the best vegetable.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Not even close, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm glad you like your eggplant, but eggplant is it's not that great. There's a reason like all the best eggplant dishes involve doing a bunch of things to make it as un-eggplant as possible.
Right. Yeah.
Either turning it into a delicious goopy dip or a fried fritter. And then put that in a sandwich.
About the avocado dog.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
The next take here is
this is post-election. We're doing all the recriminations and discussion of, what did we do wrong? And Matt says, in my opinion, the big problem with defund the police is that defunding the police is a bad idea. Austerity is bad. Public services are good. Policing is important. And better policing will be more costly than bad policing, not cheaper. Which is an interesting thing to say, that defunding the police is a form of austerity. That's a big Matt brain take.
Why are you the way that you are?
You can't defund the police. That's the same as doing austerity.
Yeah. Oh, okay, bro. Gotcha. Yeah,
anyway.
Matt, the worst thing about it, and I told you this is that he was on the Brunigs podcast, and I got mad. Everybody got mad. Like, why is he on your show?
Yeah,
and
why did you have this?
It,
yeah.
I listened to it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of, he's kind of talking like a normal person. Yeah.
Because on that one, they talked about anti-natalism or, anti-birtherism, the idea that, versus being pro-reproduction and growing the population. It was in service of his 1 billion Americans thing, but...
it was interesting. It's just...
I don't know. I feel like it's easy. I don't totally agree with the 1 billion Americans thing, but I'm also not an anti-natalist like doing on Our Child Free, talking about breeders or whatever too. So, nuance.
Yeah. Nuance, what is it? This is probably the biggest take of the year. We'll just get this right out of the way up front.
Ooh, okay.
This is Obama Obama writing in his memoir that which I will never read. You can't make me read it. It will not happen.
Literally, you would have to pay me an obscene amount of money to read this.
The only thing I will ever read from it is this paragraph, which I have clipped here. Looking back, it's embarrassing to recognize the degree to which my intellectual curiosity those first 2 years of college paralleled the interests of various women I was attempting to get to know. Marx and Marcuse, so I had something to say to a long-legged socialist who lived in my dorm. Fannin and Gwendolyn Brooks for the smooth-skinned sociology major who never gave me a second to look. Foucault and Wolfe for the ethereal bisexual who wore mostly black. As a strategy for picking up girls, my pseudo-intellectualism proved mostly worthless. I found myself in a series of affectionate but chaste relationships, which did in no way foreshadow my presidency.
Obama as a spurned incel.
A pseudo-intellectual who is mostly worthless. Affectionate but chaste relationships.
What a simp. I've never read Foucault in the service of trying to get a date, and I never will.
I never will.
You can't make me.
I'm never Oh, is that how you pronounce it? Foucault?
Foucault, yes, it's French.
See, that's how you know I'm never going to I'm a fake leftist. I'm never going to read that crap. You can't make me. I've tried reading some of this stuff and I'm like, this is in English. I can't do it. Sorry, can't make me do it. You can be a dummy and a lefty. This is the way.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, but that was delicious. Thanks for giving that to us, Obama. Oh, we don't have that. We should have had a clip of that.
Yeah. Obama. Yeah.
Put it on the list. Of course, then we had to get it. We had the this year opened with a really bad take from Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Which
bung a bob for Big Ben to bong for Brexit.
Folks, you remember that? You remember this?
Bung
We're all gonna
Ping.
So if you don't speak English, what this means is, give us £1 so that we can set it up so that Big Ben will bong for Brexit. Big Ben has been under renovation. So people were quite distraught that it wouldn't be able to ring in Brexit, because this is the thing with pro-Brexit people is they're very invested in symbology. And,
it's in fact all about that. It's not even about anything other than that.
It turned out that this didn't come to pass, and so all of the crowdfund campaigns that were set up for this were just entirely grifts, basically. And there were the Big Ben did not bong for Brexit.
No, but a lot of people were hitting the bong, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
With their proceeds, their cash proceeds,
smacking the barm, yeah,
smacking the barm, wetting the peas,
yeah,
etc., etc.
I smacking the barm, I wetted a pea.
Oh, you love it. The other take was crying at work as a sign of a healthy workplace. We covered that in the show. It's not.
Fast Company, which is a magazine we love and respect.
Yes.
Why crying employees can sometimes be a sign of a healthy workplace.
SpeedyBusiness.com.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a bad take. Bad take.
It's just... This is the thing. Do you think the journalists read their articles and then go, wait a minute, we don't have to publish this? Because that's what it's like, you don't have to publish this.
No one's
really
making
don't.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really don't gotta.
I had to eat another haichu just thinking about it. Here's something to do.
I should have gotten my dark chocolate cherries, but I didn't. How
are you going to self-soothe?
It's a great question. I'm just thinking about the Clob Mob.
The Clob Mob?
Big Amy, we love her.
Big Amy, the weird like sexually fetishizing following that she had.
Yeah. This from February 14th of this year. It's time for Hillary to say I'm with her. This is an article in Vox demanding that Hillary endorse Klobuchar because Klobuchar is the woman who can beat Trump and Sanders.
Yeah.
It turns out she could not.
She could. Results say negative.
Yeah.
Then remember, shortly after that, Municipal Peter declared his victory in Iowa.
Indeed, yes. I still think we don't know conclusively who won Iowa. I believe that's still
You know,
up for
all of
debate.
this stuff from earlier in the year. Sorry, I finished my cactus cooler. Now I'm cracking open a Topo Chico mineral water. So
We love to see it.
Oh no!
Whoa.
Oh no! It started coming out.
Whoa.
I had to. Oh
got
no!
a little breach of our whole integrity there.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
So remember he declared victim. So all this. Oh, what I was gonna say is all this stuff from
Iowa, you have shocked the nation.
everything before Super Tuesday seems like it was 10 years ago.
It truly does.
Everything.
It seems as distant a memory as the Bush campaign.
Yeah, it seems so long
Gentlemen,
ago.
this is Democracy Manifest.
Yeah. And we
Then
did
we
see
must-
that on the night of the Iowa caucus where Pete Buttigieg was incontrovertibly and resoundingly elected
Should
in
I
the
do
primary there.
Let's do my impression. Tonight, an improbable hope became an undeniable reality. No, see, I'm doing a better Obama than him. Like,
yeah. Well, remember when every tweet of
let me
his had to
declare-
be like an aphorism? An
Yeah.
aphorism? Yeah.
no, aphorism
Tonight,
was
an
right.
improbable hope became an undeniable reality. It's like, my dude, just say like, hey, we did it. But no, that's his
Everything's-
whole thing was he had to sound smart.
This tweet, Pete Buttigieg is like if LinkedIn was a person.
Yeah, I put that in there because that's one of the correct takes that we have today. Yeah, I put some other ones. There's this one from a New York Times writer who says, Pete, after winning Iowa, is almost beating Bernie in a state Bernie won 4 years ago by 22 points. Under any normal standard of assessing the Democratic race, Pete would be called a front runner. Let's just check in on that.
How that
Interesting.
go?
Yeah.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Well, then we had another primary take, which is that we must protect and serve. Wait, this is we're jumping ahead.
Oh yeah, we are. This is post primary.
So this is when she was announced to be the VP, and
Mhm.
a lot of people were upset because she likes to put black people in jail.
Yeah.
So Gary Master Williams on Twitter said,
Display
Here's what
name
I-
literally just Gary.
yeah. Here's what I do know. Whether you like Kamala or not, the current administration is going to unleash a disgusting and disrespectful attack on her, mainly because she is a black woman. We have to protect her and uplift her as much as possible throughout this campaign. And you don't. You actually don't.
You don't. Also, if we circle back, I don't recall any Trump ads that were specifically attacking Kamala because she was black.
No, I do remember a lot of Trump ads that were like, here's a clip of something racist Biden said.
Yeah, it was mostly going in on Biden
Yeah.
from the left.
So like you should have been more worried about that.
Yeah. Maybe don't nominate a racist next time. Just a little thought for me. Although it did win this time, so I don't know. Maybe I'm
Did it?
Maybe
I
I'm
mean,
the
we
idiot.
still don't know.
Yeah, we truly still don't know.
We're never going to know. We're never going to know the results of Iowa. We're never going to know the results of this election.
Now, of course, this year was dominated by COVID and COVID denialism, which we love.
Yeah.
Just a little quote here that David Roth tweeted or pulled out from an article. This is from Matthew Seeley of the Michigan Conservative Coalition. Remember, they stormed our state house earlier in the year to protest the lockdown.
That happened.
Yeah. And Matt Seeley says, I feel, by the way, it's always the Matts. This is going to be a future discussion topic. It's always Matts. I don't know
If
what it
your
is
name
about
is
the Matts,
Matt,
but they need to be stopped.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself, okay?
Yeah, right. Like, I see you, Matts, and I'm coming for you. Matt says, I feel terrible about the lives lost, but good start. I feel terrible about the lives lost, but at some point we have to say mission accomplished and come up with the next phase of this that doesn't have us continuously locked inside our homes. This is from April 18th. Let me just check the COVID numbers here. Let me just go to coronavirus.jhu. Oh dear.
We got him.
Oh, that's gone poorly, hasn't it?
Actually, it's just your vaporized mouth spittle. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, 2002, thinking about 9/11 every day. 2020, having a 9/11 every day. And then similarly from April 28th, 2020, PragerU tweeted this quote
Pregnant
from...
University.
Dennis Prager. The lockdown is the greatest mistake in the history of humanity.
It's time to call it what it is.
Very cool. It's simple, really. Hillary Clinton had some ideas on what we should do about COVID. She says, millions of people have lost their employer-tied healthcare over the last 2 weeks because of the pandemic. It's an easy call. Are you ready for what's an easy call? What would you think would be an easy call here in this situation?
Pay people to stay home and not go to work, and pay businesses to send people home.
And to provide for their healthcare. Should we give them healthcare for free?
Free healthcare.
Okay. You're wrong, actually. It's an easy call. Reopen the healthcare exchanges.
Fatality.
That's it.
It can't be done. You're crazy.
Listen, you're unemployed. You've got plenty of time to go to healthcare.gov and sort out which of the 3 high-deductible health plans you want. Yes, they all have deductibles that cost more than a used car. However...
this is just so stupid. I forgot this one.
Yeah. Do you remember Chunk, is that his name? Chunk Uyghur?
Chunk Uyghur. Wait.
The Young Turks guy.
Oh, yeah. That guy.
Chunk, yeah, I don't know. He had a take that said, one of the things establishment Democrats do a million times better than Donald Trump is competence.
We love to do competence. I'm always saying that.
Listen,
if there's anything I'm going to do, it's going to be competence.
Right, yeah. What we need right now is competence. Mm-hmm. In an emergency, you don't want Bozo and the clown in charge. You want a grown up. Cuomo and Joe Biden are competent managers when we really need it. Very hilarious
if
in
there's
hindsight to put
anybody
Cuomo in there.
You would not compare Cuomo to it. Definitely would not be Bozo the Clown. He has big Bozo the Clown energy. He goes on. He has a show where he goes on and he goes up there and he's like, "Hey, kids!" Like he's Bozo the Clown.
Now this is not political.
No. He's like a Bongino la Clown.
I've got one here that's not political except insofar as everything is political. This is are you ready for a time hack? We covered this one.
Wow.
Okay.
Time hack.
Yes.
Wake up at 4 a.m., get 8 hours of work done by 12 p.m., work from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., and have 2 full work days in one. Take a break every hour of 15 minutes to do other things that need to get done. Green check mark.
Thank you, Charles Velasco.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Time hack. Just work a whole lot.
Yeah. The guy who quote tweeted this, money hack, take $100, then add another $100. Now you have $200.
Yeah. I will not be taking questions at this time.
I just know that there are people who I know who shared this tweet and were like, yeah.
So profound, so insightful.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Rise and grind, baby.
Anybody anytime says oh yeah, I worked extra today. I'm like, did you get paid for that? And they're like, no. I'm like, well then why did you do that?
Why did you do that?
All you've done is devalue your labor.
You just played yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just
I'd say it was a slave state.
You want to remember a guy briefly?
Do I? Is his name Representative Joseph Kennedy III?
Absolutely, it is.
The wet boy.
He came out with a very good take, profound, deeply thoughtful.
This
not
is
a single
in the
patient.
Similar vein of the Hillary thing.
In this trying time, not a single patient should be forced to fight off medical bankruptcy in the midst of a global health pandemic without a lawyer by their side. He could have just stopped there, but instead he said, without a lawyer by their side.
Liberalism.
We covered this in our episode, which we titled L4A, for Lawyers for All, because that's, in addition to 1 billion bowls, universal basic bowls, we're going to provide lawyers to everyone.
I don't want to spoil it, but we're getting through this list, and I'm starting to sense a theme. I think maybe our leaders have utterly failed us, and they're all incompetent idiots. Could that be true?
It's almost like 2020 has revealed a profound failure of governance at quite literally every single level of government. Fully destroying any remaining credibility that they had.
Well, maybe we'll get through this and we'll find something different.
Yeah, well, Biden's going to make it all better,
COVID-19 isn't going anywhere, so schools must reopen. CDC,
yeah, this was
Prof. Emily Oster
Well, first we've got, this is an opinion column by Kathleen Parker in the Washington Post. COVID-19 isn't going anywhere, so schools must reopen. And then recently also Professor Emily Oster, professor of economics, not anything to do with health, quotes a thing that says, the CDC has recommended that schools should be open. So that's, and it says, what this says, the new recommendations place high priority in keeping schools open from kindergarten through the 12th grade, saying schools should be the last settings to close and the first to reopen because of the critical role they play in providing meals and support services to children. If only there were a way to provide meals to children that didn't involve schools. Sadly, there isn't one.
What's crazy is when we closed our school during that first part of the pandemic where people were kind of actually like, oh, are we going to do something? Are we going to do stuff?
Yeah, that time where we briefly passed giving everyone free money because the Republicans weren't paying close enough attention, I guess.
We closed the schools and we basically converted our whole operation into providing those services for kids. So some essential workers still went into work to prepare food, for instance, for kids. And then we used our bus drivers to drop that stuff off in neighborhoods, and we had pickups where anybody who lived in that neighborhood, you didn't even have to be a student, could come pick up. We were essentially providing government services, and it was super efficient and it worked super well. And we could have kept doing that, but then we just stopped because the federal government and state government were like, okay, now you have to justify why we're giving you money by going back opening your school. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. We love it. Yeah, it's great. I would say the fact that a lot of children rely on school lunches for nutrition probably calls for,
it's not a sign that schools are good.
That's not a sign that we should keep schools open. That's a separate problem that we should solve separately.
Yeah. Just looking for anything.
Maybe Meals on Wheels could be expanded or something.
Well, economists just look at schools as daycare. Public schools are just daycare. That's all it is.
Daycare so that you can do work.
Yeah.
So you must produce value for your employer. It's vitally important. That's been the theme of the COVID pandemic in America.
Speaking of workers, David Sedaris, our buddy,
my close personal friend. He got himself into quite a lot of hot water because he had a little piece to camera on CBS Sunday Morning last week as we record this, where he suggested that, like a citizen's arrest, you should just be able to fire anyone you don't like who gives you bad customer service, which is, sort of profoundly misunderstands the fact that none of the workers are paid nearly enough to deal with him and his smugness. It's bad. It's very bad. People tore him to pieces.
It's very bad that at this time that's what was top of mind for him, and that the producers at CBS Sunday Morning were like, "Oh hell yeah, let's put this on the air."
Yeah, complaining, I bought a bunch of expensive china from a china shop and they didn't have a bag for me or whatever.
I used to like watching the calming show of CBS Sunday Morning.
Sunday Morning
used to be part of my habit, was to wake up on Sunday morning and turn it on and watch it and drift in and out of sleep as it was on. But I as of maybe 2 years ago, I just gave up because it just got so unbearably gross and bougie.
It seems very neoliberal now.
Ugh, so bad. Another great thing is Obama has really, after
Obama
4 years of Trump,
for a second time on this list.
Yeah, 4 years of Trump, he was, tight-lipped, just out there, being a fun guy, doing some sort of hydroplaning with billionaires and whatnot, making deals with Netflix. But then he finally, broke his silence when his book came out, and now he's just, every day you hear about some dumb, stupid thing he said. And this one takes the cake. You lose people with snappy slogans like defund the police.
Yeah, it's interesting because, as we know, his campaign originally in 2008 was not based off of any sort of snappy slogans at all.
No, yeah.
No.
He also began his presidency by conceding to police, so that, the beer summit was the first thing he ever did. So
and basically where it started to go wrong, immediately.
Yeah. So we should not be surprised by this, but he's out here critiquing, the only people really in America who are actually making a difference, who are like activists and organizers on the streets protesting, actually doing shit.
Yeah.
But he makes a movie, a neoliberal propaganda movie for Netflix, so that he's contributing to, I guess. I just
this one, which I liked from this is a guy who used to work at Stripe and doesn't work there anymore, and I can only assume it's because he's got like whack job politics that they were like, why don't you leave? Says the solution to collective problems is more individualism.
Excuse me?
This guy had a lot of big brain tweets from a couple weeks ago, but they're just,
My answer is something called science.
Guy's not important enough to go over them. It's just, it's just the typical Silicon Valley bro. Big into crypto and whatnot.
If you're not smart enough to see that so much of our problems right now are directly attributable to individualism, then you don't deserve to even be able to tweet.
It's funny because someone replied to him in the thread, and he had to sort of walk it back a little bit.
How do you walk that back? That's like such a
that's the thing, yeah.
One-way statement there, like
right.
There's no nuance to that.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It says someone replied to some. I have a collective problem. There's an ungodly amount of trash in public streets. How does individualism solve this problem in a way that is more efficient than a publicly funded mandated collection and doesn't bring an undue burden on those who are more responsible? And he replied, the solution is to bust the trash collectors union. And then the other guy replied, how does the lack of a union lead to less trash on the street without collective action to ensure every house has collection? And he says, I am talking more about individualism for our current standpoint, not more individualism from the standpoint of humans in caves. Obviously, you need some collective action.
The trash collectors union.
What I was saying is the exact opposite of what I said. But, the point stands.
Maybe it's a literacy problem.
It is a literacy problem. This is a tweet here. Literacy was always the most basic tool of totalitarian propaganda. If you are not literate, you can't be fed communist propaganda. The most steadfast anti-communist I knew in my childhood was my maternal grandfather, who was illiterate. Communist propaganda did not reach him.
What?
Yeah, this is from someone who describes themselves in their bios as Reaganite, Thatcherite, Zionist. So we love it.
We know exactly where they're coming from.
Yeah. Listen, the thing is, literacy makes you a communist. I hate to say it, but it's true. And that's why I never read.
I don't. Well, see, that's why I won't read
I will never become educated. You can't make me. I don't want to be a
communist. You can't make me read Helicopter, whatever. You can't make me read Burry Mukchin. You can't. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Man, we've got some bangers in here.
We do, yeah.
So we're reaching into stuff that I haven't really seen.
Yeah. You do know that New Yorkers are better than you, correct?
This is the thing I hate, because I hate New York bias more than anything else. My favorite thing when I used to watch the show The Amazing Race was anytime they had New Yorkers on there. New Yorkers the best. We're gonna win because we're from New York. And if you can survive in New York, you can survive anywhere. And they'd be like the first to lose because they had no idea how to operate in the real world. That was my favorite thing. That's my anti-New York rant. This
is from Lux Alptrom, who says, the funny thing about everyone hating New Yorkers is that for the most part, we fund your lifestyle. I don't mind being a donor state, but frankly, I could do with a lot fewer people. This is why everyone hates New Yorkers tweets from people who refuse to pay their fair share of taxes. Does she think that the rest of the country is doing tax evasion, like large-scale tax evasion? I pay precisely as many taxes as I am due.
Let me just look something on this tweet. Let me pull up this tweet real quick.
Muting this because despite your insistence that no one cares about New Yorkers, you all clearly care enough to dunk on me for this completely factual take. And then she proceeded to spend the next day doing I'm not owned tweets.
Tweeted from Twitter for iPhone. The iPhone, notoriously manufactured and designed in New York.
Yeah. Listen, if we didn't have New York, we wouldn't have really thin pizza.
Half of the food you eat comes from California. Okay.
Yeah. California isn't even a donor state anymore. She says this. Yeah. This is the problem with categorizing things by like tax revenue. The reason New Yorker is a big donor state in tax revenue is because it's where all the billionaires live.
Yeah. There's like apartment complexes that have like 10 billionaires in them.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you produce anything useful.
Yeah. Ugh.
This is, it's like, this is a self-causing problem because you're like, oh, I can't, everyone hates New Yorkers, but we fund your lifestyle. And then you're like, why does everyone seem to hate New Yorkers? It's like, maybe if you just shut up, you wouldn't get yourself into this problem.
Yeah. Maybe that's what we're properly identifying here.
Yeah. Speaking of reading, we've had a lot of discussions about reading. On the one hand, literacy makes you a communist. On the other hand, you're not allowed to criticize someone unless you've read their complete works. This is a tweet from Lex Fridman, or maybe Friedman, but not the Lex Friedman of podcast fame. This is Lex Friedman from
I was
MIT,
really worried about this. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, they're off by one letter. This is an AI researcher, so off to a good start here. Says, I wonder how many people who criticize Jordan Peterson actually read his work. Instead of censoring books, let's instead read a lot, think deeply, and keep an open mind. And I just want to say no. I'm absolutely sick of this, like, you have to read, don't judge a book by its cover nonsense. There's not enough time for that, frankly.
All I can think about with the thing, something beautiful has happened in my brain that when I think of Jordan Peterson, the only thing I can think of is that clip of someone interviewing him or asking him a question and saying, do you still eat an all beef diet? And he gives this pained look and just says, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, the guy is being like Baron Munchausen'd by his daughter. It's kind of remarkable.
And that's so good. I love it. We love to see it.
So it replies to Lex and says, dude was sailing on benzos the whole time. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. And someone else says, the man claimed a red meat diet saved his life. I don't think he has the intellectual rigor to be worth listening to.
Oh, buddy. Thanksgiving,
listen,
we did
you're
it.
not allowed, unless you read all of their work, you're not allowed to criticize them. These are the
that's
rules.
True.
This is it's one of the 12 rules.
I wonder if
actually.
these people think the same thing about Marx.
I think probably they don't. No.
Okay, I'll read 12 Rules for Life. You read Capital.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with this one. This was the notorious column by Farhad Manjoo, where they traced their COVID-19 bubble to find how many people, they might affect if they got COVID-19, and determined that it was large, and then said, but I'm going to do Thanksgiving anyway. And then they edited the article to make this, to basically take that part out, because people were like, are you serious? You went through all this trouble to figure this number out, and then you're like, yeah, we're going to take the risk. What the heck?
Farhad.
Don't do this.
Farhad. They're just dumb. Which something happened to Farhad, because Farhad didn't seem to be that dumb.
No, that's true. They used to be a tech columnist and a fairly decent one at that, and then have become, I guess, just a general opinion columnist at the Times. I'm not totally clear.
Bad opinions. They should really have a section that's just the bad opinions section.
Right, yeah. The New York Times bad opinion section.
Yeah. What did Casey Johnston say? I'm going to tweet on this.
Oh, Casey Johnston tracked the edits to this piece.
Thank you, Casey
and
Johnston.
how they updated it. I think they updated it and then didn't say they updated it, and then they did say that they updated it, and yeah, it was a whole mess.
Ugh, weird.
The comments section is closed.
You don't do that for any particular reason.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. Don't do that.
You've got a heading here: toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. Obama admitting that he bombed people because he didn't want to be seen as weak is the ultimate proof of the prevalence and dangers of toxic masculinity.
That's
absolutely.
A joke.
This is the kind of tweet that I just I retweet and I say, like, absolutely.
This has got to be a joke tweet, though, right?
I think so. The
account's
probably.
banished Bernie.
Yeah.
Their location is the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie.
Yeah. It's good, though. I like it.
It's a good tweet. It's very good. It's very true. What's this one?
This is a simple theory of why Trump did well by Jamel Bowie. This is, he had a column about it that was basically like it was because, money got sent to everyone in Trump's name. And someone replied to this and said, this is someone whose display name is Warren Democrat FTW. And they say, I think it was also toxic masculinity. Black and Latino men went along with that. And I don't... on the one hand, absolutely. On the other hand, what?
It was also toxic masculinity, which I shall explain by racism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
It was the blacks and the Latinos.
I don't want to make it sound like we don't think toxic masculinity exists, but
no, it's very true.
Again, nuance, please.
Yeah, please, sir, my nuance. He's very
Speaking
sick.
of nuance, we all see the voter fraud. We all see it, don't we?
Do we?
Another Matt here, Matt Walsh, who I will continue to note. I will continue to note Matt Walsh, his bio is theocratic fascist, and I will continue to note that until it changes. But he says, whatever happens with the election, it is absolutely clear that mass mail-in voting and early voting was a disaster that should never, ever be repeated. It's absolutely clear, Aaron. Isn't it? We all see it.
Well,
that's like basically after the election, all the Republicans were like, "Listen, we all see that the emperor has clothes. Like it's extremely obvious. We're all seeing it."
He's just over there.
Angels have even been dispatched from Africa right
Man, Matt Walsh. It really does say theocratic fascist on there, huh?
Truly does, yeah. I don't know why you'd put that on your Twitter, but whatever.
Well, he also has tyrant.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Cool.
This next one was sent to us by listener Ultra Nerd. COVID is increasing America's lead over China. And I'm not going to read this whole article because there's no reason to, but the gist of it was basically our lead over China.
Our lead of people we can
our
kill?
Our lead. Well, this is the thing, is the gist of this article is basically like, we must tolerate the deaths from the pandemic in order to stay on top of China, Oh,
this is by Kyler Towen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Bloomberg opinion columnist, professor of economics at George Mason University.
Oh,
yeah.
I used to listen to his podcast. He was one of those like conservative liberal or libertarian types that I would like listen to just so I could like know what was going on over there. But he became too insufferable, and now I see what's happened. The thing that I find hilarious is that my friends who are like in China or people I follow on social media who are Chinese, like they're always like finding out about things in America and just being horrified at the barbarity and just like craziness of it. And it's like cool to be in this situation. Very cool to be the ones that they're like, you guys, it's that bad there?
Right.
Oh no, what can we do? They're gonna whir up some sort of like nonprofit organization to help us.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
You
have the worst.
Well, this one I'm pretty sure is an op, but it snuck in just under the wire.
Oh my gosh!
Today, but this has to be an op. This
one
be like
hurts
CIA.
my head so bad.
This might be a radical take, but hear me out. Leftists who hate landlords are not leftists. And there's a whole thread here. They say leftists are often trans people of color and part of other disposed minorities who want to see the liberation for their people.
Often, really?
I don't know that I've met a landlord who is not a white male, but, go ahead. Sure. They're often trans, yeah.
Yeah, all those trans... there's the Trans Landlords Association.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is just
leftism is about opposing bigotry and hatred towards marginalized groups of people. Landlords are often hated by their tenants and treated as though they're monsters. There are marginalized people, landlords. This just seems so implausibly wrong that it has to be a kind of op.
It has to be.
That's just, yeah.
Well, we've made it to our last take
Yeah, this one, someone has tweeted and they've scrubbed all the identifying information, which is probably for the better. And they've said, "Is this the worst take in history?" And I believe that it may be. The tweet is the following: "Not every job should have a living wage. That is not healthy for society. It is not healthy for someone making ice cream cones at Dairy Queen to make enough to live off of. You want a society that actually can't live off these jobs."
Nope.
So,
Nope.
that's...
Nope.
What the hell kind of country is this where I can only hate a man
if he works at Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
But
it's like, listen, if you work a service job, you should hate your life. That's just how it should be.
This is like making the thing about capitalism that nobody likes to talk about the selling point of capitalism. Like,
it's like, no, listen,
thing.
this is like, it's supposed to be this way.
The only way capitalism works is if there are underemployed and unemployed people to be a threat to the people with jobs that they could lose their jobs because there's a pool of people that can replace you. And so that's what keeps the balance, the relationship of the bosses extracting from your labor work, because there's always a threat that you could lose that position. And so she's saying that's healthy.
Yeah, it's good. It's a sign of a healthy society.
Except that we'll have a bunch of people in our society that will be sick and die because
instead of the
they
fight for
can't
15,
live.
It's the fight for $1.50.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't.
Why pay people at all then? By this token,
why do anything? I just
that's the logical endpoint of this argument is like, well, actually, we shouldn't pay people because they should just have to work and deal with it, and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
This
and
is
they
the
did
worst.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Well, that was 2020, guys.
Yeah, it's been a year. I'm glad it's nearly over. We'll be back next year in what I'm sure will be an equally horrifying hellscape.
Yeah,
I tried to be optimistic about 2020, and I learned my lesson very hard, so that's not happening again.
Was that like your New Year's resolution?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In 2019, I was like, 2020 is going to be my year. I'm going to do so much self-improvement.
This is going to be the year of Huster.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Andrew. That's like such the Andrew thing to have happen.
It truly, truly is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, no.
This is what people always ask me, like, oh, why are you such a pessimist? And it's like, because I've been taught to be.
Yeah.
Every time I try to be an optimist, it backfires. Well, how do you expect me to react?
I think the only people who are optimists are people who haven't been who haven't gotten punched
Aaron,
in the face by life.
we're going to be eating brunch again, okay?
We're all potential pessimists if you're not already one. That's just
we're going to be... Biden's coming in on January 20th. We're going to have brunch again. We're going to be eating brunch again. That's all I care about is that I need to go get a mimosa.
It's so sad when people like at work will talk about, ooh, the vaccine's coming. Ooh, I look forward to being able to do this again and do this again. And they're saying all this stuff. And I'm like, nah.
Right.
There's not really much I look forward to. Like nothing really fundamentally changes about life that to a degree that gets me excited. Sorry. It's a bummer.
But the vaccine coming is a light at the end of the tunnel, which I am.
I'm not saying
for,
it's like
but,
it's not a positive development, but
yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't know that I'm going to modify my habits that much. I mean, my habits pre-quarantine weren't that different anyway.
No. Yeah, especially for me. I'm a hobbit.
The only binary that I believe in is inside and outside.
Okay, that's a good place to end it, I think. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing. I was not prepared for this. I'm trying and I'm learning. Thank you for your patience. There's so many mistakes I have already made, but I'm working to be better day by day. And I think I'm gonna make it, but for now I'll say I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm